Air travel is an engineering wonder, shrinking the globe and connecting people like never before. Yet behind every flight's safety rules and seatbelt announcements, there is a web of practices, codes, and decisions unknown to the average passenger. Join us as we crack open these mysteries and go through 25 lesser-known flight secrets. Number 25. Handcuffs are kept on board. Ever wondered what would happen if an unruly or violent passenger tried to storm the cockpit or attack crew members? On any flight, there's potential for passenger misconduct, whether due to intoxication, psychological issues, or criminal intent. That's why airlines equip planes with handcuffs and restraints to control severe situations. These restraint devices are kept out of sight and only accessed by flight attendants if needed. Typically made of nylon or lightweight metals, they can immobilize individuals without causing injury. The crew is specially trained in proper restraint techniques. Statistics show hundreds of onboard disturbances happen worldwide each year, ranging from non-compliance to physical assault. In 2021, FAA data showed almost 6,000 reports of unruly passengers on U.S. flights. Restraints are a last resort to de-escalate threats and maintain cabin safety. Number 24. Oxygen masks. If you've ever flown, you're familiar with the safety demo about oxygen masks deployed from the ceiling. But do you know how these devices actually work and how much oxygen they provide? Contrary to popular belief, the masks are not connected to large oxygen tanks. Instead, they rely on a chemical reaction between sodium chlorate and iron powder activated by pulling the mask. This reaction generates oxygen which you can breathe for 10 to 20 minutes. Why so brief? The oxygen is only intended to last until the pilot can descend below 10,000 feet. At this lower altitude, air pressure in the cabin rises to breathable levels. After 15,000 feet, oxygen levels decline and masks become essential for consciousness. By quickly descending, the plane can get to an altitude with sufficient ambient oxygen before the mask supply runs out. The pilot's oxygen system provides plenty of time for this controlled descent to around 8,000 feet. Number 23. Dimming the lights. As your flight prepares for takeoff or landing, you may notice the cabin lights begin to dim. This is not just to help passengers relax or fall asleep. Dimming the lights serves an important safety purpose, helping passengers' eyes adjust to the darkness in case an emergency evacuation is needed. When lights are dimmed, it allows passengers' pupils to dilate and become more sensitive to low light. If an evacuation occurred, the aircraft's emergency lighting system would activate, illuminating exit pathways and signs. With pupils already dilated, passengers' vision would adapt faster to the low lighting, allowing quicker identification and use of emergency exits. Those extra seconds can be critical for a safe and orderly evacuation. Having pre-adjusted vision also helps passengers maintain spatial orientation and avoid tripping or injury while moving through a darkened cabin. It ultimately minimizes confusion and panic. Studies by aviation authorities have proven dimming lights for 20 to 30 minutes significantly improves dark adaptation. This simple procedure could truly save lives. Number 22. Do not pair lists. Sharing a cockpit with another pilot for hours on end can be tedious. Personality conflicts are inevitable. But what if pilot friction threatened passenger safety? Airlines try reducing this risk by letting pilots name coworkers they'd rather not be paired with. Known as do not pair lists, these rosters allow pilots to list other crew whose conduct or communication style they feel unable to safely work with. Airlines then prevent listed pairs from sharing flights. While not overly common, these measures provide an outlet for pilots before tensions reach problematic levels that might compromise focused crew resource management and aircraft operation. Pairing incompatible crew could lead to a distracted or hostile environment when life or death responsiveness is required. Eliminating interpersonal hazards helps pilots feel focused solely on flight duties. The no-fly listings remain confidential as well. Aviation unions fully support do-not-pair policies to promote solid CRM and reinforce the gravity of pilots remaining distraction-free. Ensuring smooth teamwork through all foreseeable challenges reflects the industry's safety-first commitment. Number 21. Safest seats. When booking a flight, getting an aisle or window seat is a typical priority. But next time, consider choosing the middle seat, specifically in the rear cabin area. Why? This spot statistically has the highest survivability in crashes. Data analyzed from past incidents indicates rear middle seats have a fatality rate of around 28%, compared to 44% for seats in the front or overwing positions. Front seats are closer to fiery impact zones, since most collisions occur during takeoff or landing sequences. They also sustain more severe whiplash. Overwing exit rows seem attractive for evacuations, but being near jet fuel actually lowers survivability. The rear cabin allows more buffer space from hazards like debris, flames, and smoke inhalation. Also, the plane's back usually receives the least forceful impacts. Another plus of the mid-cabin is the proximity to attendants who can assist with exiting. While flight crashes are extraordinarily rare thanks to safety advances, rear middle seats optimize your slim odds just in case. But no matter where you sit, rest assured experts tirelessly work to enable zero fatalities if problems ever do arise. Number 20. Tiny holes. Ever glance out an airplane window and notice a tiny hole in the glass? These appear on all aircraft windows and serve a useful pressure-regulating function. That pinhole is no accident. It's an intentional design feature called a breather hole. As the plane gains altitude, air pressure drops outside while being maintained at higher levels inside the cabin. This difference stresses the window panes. The breather hole allows pressure to slowly equalize between the double-paned glass, preventing fogging when humidity condenses. The intentional leak also regulates pressure with the cabin during ascent and descent to prevent painful ear popping. By keeping the middle glass pane's pressure comfortable, it stays optimally secured against the innermost pane securing the cabin. So next time you peer out a plane window, know that tiny hole is carefully engineered to regulate pressure differences that would otherwise cause significant issues. It's just one of many ingenious aviation design elements keeping you safe, even as forces of nature try to counter the mechanics of flight. Number 19. Flying with the dead. Amid the exhilaration of cruising miles above Earth awaits an unfortunate reality, the occasional instance of passengers dying mid-flight. Though tragic, airlines plan extensively for what to do until landing. On ultra-long hauls, some airlines like Singapore Airlines even use specially designed storage spaces for deceased passengers respectfully out of public sight. Known as corpse cupboards, these compartments are an area where the crew can gracefully place and secure the body with seatbelts until arrival at the destination. They are fully enclosed and located separately from the cabin. The purpose isn't mere concealment, but dignified handling that respects both the departed and other passengers who would be disturbed encountering a deceased person for hours. Storage areas like Singapore Airlines respectfully cater to difficult circumstances aircrew occasionally face. Aviation regulators require standardized procedures for the crew to follow in such events, including moving the body, notifying officials, and proper reporting. With flights covering vast global routes, airlines are inevitably faced with this sensitive scenario. Corpse cupboards demonstrate their commitment to anticipating all possibilities, even tragedies, with consideration. Number 18. Hidden bedrooms. Ever wonder how flight attendants stay energized and alert for those 12-plus-hour routes? The answer may be just above your head. Many large aircraft have secret sleeping quarters for crew rest during long flights. Known as crew rest compartments, these small sleeping quarters are typically hidden upstairs behind inconspicuous doors above the main cabin. Bunk beds, sleeping pods, and other basic amenities give pilots and cabin crew a private place to sleep in shifts. This ensures fresh staff are available for optimal safety and service throughout ultra-long-haul routes. For example, the massive Airbus A380 upper deck houses up to 13 rest station pods, along with bathrooms and a lounge area to give the crew respite during their break time. Most of the sleeping chambers contain either 2 beds or a single bunk. Regulations determine how many hours of rest facilities must be provided. By strategically using these compartments to alternate sleep schedules, onboard crew avoid fatigue and jet lag buildup. Staying well rested allows them to operate at their best, despite crossing various time zones. While passengers may not realize they exist, these small spaces overhead are key to smooth flight operations on the really long treks. Number 17. Recirculated air. Ever notice the rush of air when a plane ventilation nozzle is opened? What's the source of that freshness keeping the cabin breathable at 35,000 feet? Surprisingly, it's a mix of fresh air from the engines plus recirculated existing air. Unlike ground buildings, planes can't just open a window or pipe in the outside air. Instead, compressor sections of the jet engines take in air and route a portion into the cabin. After cooling it to a comfortable temperature, this fresh engine-supplied air mixes with existing cabin air filtered for impurities. The entire volume recycles every few minutes, keeping the air clean and refreshed. Any germs circulating get removed through high-performance filters similar to hospital systems. Pressurization maintains a comfortable sea level-like environment. Number 16. Fuel dumping. As an airplane rapidly climbs to cruising altitude, you may notice a trail streaming behind the wings. While it resembles cloud vapors, it's actually aviation fuel being purposefully dumped. Though visually stunning, this practice doesn't come without controversy. Fuel dumping is a safety procedure used only in emergencies when a plane is too heavy to land safely, such as if it has to return shortly after takeoff. By releasing fuel weight, the aircraft can achieve a safe landing weight to avoid potential crashes. Up to tons of excess fuel can be jettisoned in minutes. Special vent valves on the wings allow fuel to discharge at a rate of thousands of pounds per minute. The fuel flashes into vapor due to atmospheric pressure, creating the cloud effect. Rather than pooling below, it disperses and evaporates into the air at various altitudes. Though regulations require dumping at high altitudes, environmental groups have raised concerns about the practice. Fuel contains compounds that fall back to Earth as particulates or get absorbed in water cycles. Industry data shows about 1.2 million pounds of fuel are released annually worldwide via dumping. Pilots don't take this measure lightly. Dumping costly fuel is a last resort when aircraft safety outweighs environmental factors. While infrequent, it exemplifies how airlines and crews prioritize passenger lives above all else, even if it means resorting to controversial solutions when all other options are exhausted. Number 15. Blue ice. Using the bathroom on an airliner seems straightforward enough. But where exactly does the waste go? For this ingenious system to work flawlessly, the entire process is highly engineered. When flushed, a vacuum system swiftly pulls contents into an airtight storage tank using minimal fluid. Once on the ground, airports provide pump trucks to dispose of the waste properly. However, leaks in the system can occasionally lead to an icky phenomenon known as blue ice, or blue juice. This vivid blue gel-like substance results when aircraft toilet leaks mix the waste with the vivid blue disinfectant fluid. If the leak occurs during flight, streams of blue ice can flow from the aircraft and then freeze at high altitudes into chunks. There have been reported incidents of large blue ice pieces even crashing through rooftops below flight paths. And while it contains no toxins, the FAA cautions the public not to handle any fallen material. Despite advanced toilet engineering, the nature of mechanical systems leads to occasional leaks. Airlines aim to promptly fix any issues. So even though seeing blue drips might alarm you as a passenger, rest assured it's just an uncommon hiccup in an otherwise effective system. Number 14. Separate meals. Airliner food frequently gets a bad rap, especially in economy class. But airlines actually go to great lengths to provide both quality and food safety. One little-known precaution implemented is separating pilot and co-pilot meals. This rule prohibits pilots from eating the same in-flight meal. The reason? As a safety protocol to prevent both pilots from experiencing food poisoning or an allergic reaction simultaneously. If one pilot's meal is contaminated, the other should remain unaffected and be able to operate the plane. Typically, the pilot receives a business or first-class meal, while the co-pilot's is from the economy. Additionally, pilots eat at staggered intervals, not together. This provides further protection in case issues arise. Airlines enforce this global standard to minimize the chances of pilot performance being impaired by food-related illness. It may seem an excessive precaution, but with only 2 pilots per flight, contamination risks must be minimized. Thoughtful policies like staggered dining help airlines uphold the highest safety levels. So while you await your economy meal, no even greater care goes into what the cockpit crew consumes. Number 13. Fake lock. Trying to use a lavatory on board that indicates occupied? While respecting privacy, the crew actually has an emergency unlocking method if needed. Typically hidden behind the bathroom sign is an exterior latch allowing entry. This is only used in critical situations, like if a passenger inside becomes unresponsive to knocking. A discreet sign allows attendants to slide back the obscured knob and unlock the door with minimal fuss. Saving precious minutes to render medical aid could mean the difference between life and death. However, etiquette and respecting privacy dictate this emergency mechanism is an absolute last resort. Rules require attendants to announce themselves loudly before entering to protect modesty and avoid misunderstandings. Only senior staff can authorize its careful use. Number 12. Lightning strikes. As your flight cruises along, you may glance out the window just in time to see a bolt of lightning streak past. While unsettling, rest assured the aircraft is designed to withstand strikes with no harm to passengers. Here's how it achieves such resilience. The exterior of the plane is composed of a metal alloy mesh overlaying its body. This conductive surface acts like a cage to distribute electrical current evenly over the fuselage if lightning strikes. The current passes through the mesh and into the air harmlessly, leaving no damage. Additionally, vital electronics and fuel tanks are protected internally to prevent system failures. Lightning striking planes is surprisingly common, with commercial aircraft averaging one small strike per year. But due to advanced engineering, strikes leave only minor scorch marks, if any evidence at all. Number 11. Secret chime codes. An innocuous series of chimes occasionally sounds on planes, but what may seem like arbitrary noises actually convey secret information between crew. Flight attendants have an intricate lexicon of audible signals to communicate priority matters, often without passenger knowledge. For example, 3 rapid chimes piped through the intercom signal, an emergency requiring all available crew. This discreetly mobilizes help without causing alarm among passengers. A single chime, meanwhile, indicates a routine passenger call button being pressed, directing a crew member's attention. There are also coded chimes to request meal service preparation, notify pilots of cabin readiness for takeoff, and other essential coordination. Though routines vary between airlines, chimes form an essential backdrop of communication, keeping operations running smoothly. Number 10. Bird strikes. Abuzz with activity, airports often attract flocks of birds dangerously into aircraft flight paths. But while striking a bird seems calamitous, modern aviation engineering renders such collisions far less catastrophic than perceived. Here's how planes continue flying after devastating avian impacts. To withstand bird strikes, aircraft engines must pass rigorous certifications, proving they can operate even with multiple fan blades sheared off or bent. Carcasses get chopped up and propelled out the back. Performance and vibration sensors allow pilots to adjust power and safely land. Airframe structures are also designed to resist penetrating strikes without compromising the flight envelope. Redundant avionics prevent total electrical failure. Pilots train for emergency landings relying on remaining functions. With all these defenses, most flights continue uninterrupted after cleaning remains off the battered nose. Statistics show over 40% of strikes cause no damage. Yet even when serious, backup systems keep passengers secure. So while any colliding wildlife can startle, have confidence in aviation engineering mastery over such impacts. The biggest priority is identifying and avoiding flocks around runways. Number 9. Aircraft window and seat designs. You may not ponder the shape of airplane windows or the color of seats, but these design choices aren't arbitrary. The oval windows and blue fabric reflect years of research maximizing safety and passenger comfort through subtle adaptations. Early square airplane windows were phased out after crashes revealed structural weaknesses at the frame corners. Oval shapes eliminate these stress points and wrap around the cabin for added strength. The curves also enhance interior aesthetics. Blue seat upholstery emerged as the most calming and attractive color through aviation psychology studies. Shades like blue and green have a soothing effect on anxious flyers. Deeper tones also conceal dirt and wear better than light hues. Number 8. Emergency landings. When a pilot announces an emergency landing, distressing thoughts of impending doom surely cross your mind. But remarkably, these diversions usually indicate a routine precaution, not a life-threatening catastrophe. Understanding what typical emergencies entail can ease nerves. The most common factors are passenger health emergencies unrelated to the flight itself. With access to medical facilities being the priority, the pilot requests priority landing privileges. Other reasons range from minor technical issues, emergency fueling, or avoiding unexpected weather ahead. In fact, emergency landings rarely stem from immediate danger or failures. The term declares an urgent situation requiring priority attention upon landing. The pilot's skilled handling coupled with aviation safety advances enables smooth coping with most anomalies in the air. But declaring ensures ground resources are ready to act swiftly after landing just in case. So next time your flight makes an unplanned stopover, avoid presuming the worst. Stats show over 90% of diversions result in no injuries and minor delays at most. Rest assured, crews are prepared to handle any curveballs aloft. Number 7. High air traffic. In boundless skies, you'd expect ample distance between planes navigating the same airspace. But routes actually concentrate on high-flying traffic crisscrossing at consistent altitudes. Weather disruptions, holding patterns, and detours further pack densities. So how close could nearby planes really be? When following an established flight corridor, separation rules require just 3 nautical miles of space if planes are level cruising at the same flight level. That's only around 2 minutes of flying time apart at typical speeds. And allowed distance decreases further in congested airspace near airports. Visualizing how swiftly aircraft traveling over 500 miles per hour cover distances makes such separation seem alarming. However, precise monitoring technology coupled with defined flight procedures allow these narrow margins without peril. Controllers also space planes crossing paths vertically 1,000 to 2,000 feet apart. Still, looking out the window at cruising altitude reveals far less empty space than expected. Proximity seems risky but is carefully orchestrated using radar, radio, computers, and positional reports. Traffic flows are managed to remain orderly and precise. So next time you see a plane float past your window, rest assured the choreography of modern air traffic maximizes the efficiency of limited airspace while maintaining adequate separation. Number 6. Electronic devices. As your flight prepares for takeoff or landing, the announcement requests all large electronic devices like laptops be stowed away. But why? What's the harm in using your phone or tablet throughout the flight? The concern is twofold: distraction and projectiles. Critical phases like takeoff and landing require the crew's full attention both in the cockpit and cabin. Passengers fixated on devices could delay an emergency evacuation. Devices also pose a projectile risk from turbulence. In severe cases, laptops have struck and injured passengers. Additionally, electronic transmissions from devices could theoretically interfere with navigation systems. Though unlikely, aviation authorities prefer minimizing this vulnerability when precision is most vital, during takeoffs and landings. For the few minutes at either end of your flight, avoid potential distractions and projectiles by properly stowing larger electronic devices. Feel free to still use smaller items like phones set to airplane mode, but pay attention to crew instructions, as safety is the priority. The short inconvenience is a small price to pay for mitigating risks during the most dangerous phases of flight. Just remember to turn devices to airplane mode, not just off, as many still transmit on standby. Once at cruising altitude, you can safely reclaim time on your electronics. Now it's time for today's subscriber pick. Among all the airline's secrets, the most bizarre one is Vietjet Air's Bikini Airline strategy. This privately owned Vietnamese carrier, founded in 2007, quickly gained attention for its unconventional marketing ploys aimed at attracting passengers. These included in-flight beauty pageants with models provocatively dressed in skimpy bikinis strutting the aisle, outrageously revealing attire, and highly sexualized images of women in advertisements. While such titillating tactics generated media buzz, they also faced public criticism, promoted as exploitatively using female sexuality for profit. What are your thoughts on Vietjet Air's gendered marketing? Does it cross ethical lines or reflect clever brand strategy in a competitive landscape? Let us know in the comments. Number 5. Window shades. Ever been asked by the crew to raise your window shade for takeoff or landing? This isn't just for the view. It serves an important safety protocol. Open window shades allow crew and rescue personnel to quickly assess situations outside the aircraft in an emergency. With shades up, issues like engine fires, smoke, or debris on the runway are visible. For passengers, open shades also facilitate quicker exiting by allowing eyes to adjust to external light levels. Since rapid evacuation is critical, every second counts. If shades were closed, it would slow visibility and orientation after coming from a dark cabin. The crew also wants to ensure rescue personnel can see inside the plane through open shades. Additionally, having shades open aids evacuation coordination by flight attendants. They can signal to ground crews and communicate about hazards, injured passengers, or other issues. This optimizes the evacuation flow. While window shades open might mean brighter light when you'd rather sleep, it contributes to crucial safety preparedness. The FAA requires U.S. airlines to maintain open shades for taxi, takeoff, and landing. Complying with crew instructions ensures you're doing your small part for safety. Number 4. Vacuum toilets. On your next flight, take a moment to appreciate the engineering feat that makes airplane bathrooms possible at 35,000 feet. Unlike homes where gravity flushes waste down, plane loos use a clever vacuum system. When the lever is pulled, a valve opens, causing pressure difference to suck contents into an airtight holding tank, so no plumbing is needed. The vacuum action requires only a teaspoon of fluid, allowing waste to smoothly pass through narrow aircraft tubes. Once the plane lands, pump trucks remove the collection tank's contents for proper disposal. Disinfectant sprays keep odors and bacteria down until that point. While the loo may seem normal, the vacuum magic whisking away waste far outpaces any home bathroom. This vacuum technology ensures proper sanitation and lightweight installation critical for aircraft. So despite slim odds of a gravity-based flush at altitude, passengers can comfortably use the facilities just like on the ground. Simply impressive engineering keeps it functioning smoothly no matter how high you fly. Number 3. Germy planes. Reaching your seat, you have comfort knowing airline cleaning crews thoroughly disinfect each surface after every flight. However, research reveals aircraft accumulate surprisingly high bacteria levels despite sanitizing efforts. Here's why planes remain so germ-ridden. Due to quick aircraft turnarounds, cleaners focus on visible trash removal over rigorous sterilization. High-touch hotspots like tray tables and armrests are only lightly wiped if at all. And lavatories receive mere surface cleaning rather than complete disinfection. With passengers constantly cycling through, germs accumulate rapidly from hands to surfaces. Air circulation then spreads microbes throughout the cabin. Bugs like E. coli and Staphylococcus have been detected in various areas. Bringing sanitizing wipes and avoiding certain surfaces provides protection. Airlines have increased cleansing protocols in recognition of the hygiene risks. However, achieving hospital-grade cleanliness with every rapid turnaround remains challenging. Next flight, bring wipes and enjoy the journey without dwelling on the germy realities. Focus instead on the engineering miracles that achieve safe air travel. Number 2. Boarding last. In the race to board planes first, the best strategy is actually boarding last. This allows skipping stressful queues and arriving at your seat with minimal hassle. Since airlines assign specific seats, the order you board makes little difference. By boarding late, overhead bin space is ensured since early passengers already stowed bags. You won't have to wrestle for space. The aisle will be clear too, letting you swiftly reach your row unobstructed. And there's no risk of your seat being occupied. Late boarding also reduces overall boarding time congestion in the aisles and gate area. Airlines can close doors faster and depart on schedule, making the process smoother for crew and travelers alike. Studies show that back-to-front patterns are the most efficient. Additionally, you avoid extended waits on the jetway or in the cabin while other passengers settle in. Who wants to sit belted at an uncomfortable angle any longer than necessary? Just make sure your carry-on can fit under the seat, allowing you to be the last person seated. Number 1. Plug doors. Ever notice the peculiar shape of aircraft doors sealing the cabin from outside air? Unlike any household door, it's a component designed to fill a hole in the fuselage where an optional emergency exit would fit. Planes carrying more than about 200 passengers are required to have plug doors to comply with safety regulations. These specially engineered plug-type doors utilize air pressure differences to enhance safety. Here's how they function. The plug door fits slightly larger than the opening, so when closed, the extra material presses out against the door frame, creating an airtight seal. During flight at high altitudes, Greater interior pressure further forces the door against the frame as the plane pressurizes. This safety mechanism tightly secures the door in place rather than relying solely on mechanical latches. Upon landing, the pressure is equalized to outside air, allowing the door to open without difficulty. The plug design also enables convenient electric, mechanical, or manual operation. Multiple built-in redundancies ensure functionality if components fail. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.